Cool. So just for context, the previous session was a lot more about the why you might try and start using some of this functionality in Schoolbox. We had a few schools talking about what they did, why they chose to do it. The aim of this session is a lot more, what do you have to do in Schoolbox to make it work? And how does that happen? So, more specifically, in this session, what I want to do is 4 aspects of Schoolbox which are predominantly around the planning side and documenting things so that you are compliant with whatever you need to do, and that it hopefully makes the world super easy for your teachers for going, here is where I do all of these things. So we're going to look at how we can create and apply curriculum. We're going to look at how we can create homepage templates and make course frameworks. They're what makes the unit planner work. That's that application of course frameworks. And then we're also going to hopefully have a quick look at the lesson plan templates and how you might use things like AI just to populate them, or use them for weekly planners, termly planners, individual lessons. Any questions with any of those objectives, anyone? Moving on then, everyone. Some of you may or may not be familiar with this, but the staff user that you are currently logged in as has 3 service permissions. Service permissions are what give you special powers to do things in Schoolbox. In our last release, the version 25.0, I think it was, we made it so that you don't have to be a super user to go in the admin area. As a non-super user, but with the service permission, there's very limited things you see in that admin area. But this staff user, to do all of the things we're going to do today, has 3. Curriculum, that lets you muck around with the curriculum, create your own new one, things like that. CMS stands for Content Management System, and that basically is going to be how you can change your templates. Those templates are what affect the frameworks. And then LMS, obviously Learning Management System, and that will give you the power to create new frameworks, to change lesson plans, and things like that. Has anyone any initial questions about what service permission is? For the sake of this, it doesn't matter too much, you have it. So, the first thing I want to try and look at today is looking at the curriculum. So if you have successfully logged in, you should, in your top menu, see a button that says curriculum. You might, if you've got a very small screen, see it collapsed in your side menu. That's how Schoolbox works. But importantly, you can also go /curriculum, assuming you can spell curriculum, single L, I think. That's how you can get in there as well. Now, on your instance, there is one config that turns it on and off. When I say your instance, I mean your own version of Schoolbox at your own school. But curriculum should be usable for everyone who has the LMS functionality. What I would like you to do is, first of all, we've switched on every single curriculum package that we can preload into Schoolbox. Some of them you wouldn't normally see in your user interface. So we've got to keep some secret, basically. And then also, there is ability, we keep on adding new ones, we keep creating new ones as curriculums and syllabuses change. But most importantly, everyone, for what I want you to do today is there is a plus button in the very top right-hand corner. Can everyone see that? Right. I'm going to get you to create a curriculum today. James kind of alluded to it in his presentation earlier, saying about, we're going to do work on curriculum. We kind of see curriculum as being something that can just tie together lots of different things that happen with a student inside of Schoolbox. So at the moment, you can tag curriculum to courses, units, homepages, learning activities of all varieties, lesson plans, learning moments, badges, don't think of rubrics. So there are lots of places that you can do that. And so curriculum could be used to create something that your own school wants, which isn't said, Cara says you must teach this, or, the outcome is this. You could create it for like learning dispositions. Like, is this student punctual? Like, you want to say, I'm teaching them, assessing them in punctuality. Curriculum's the place. So what I want you to do, everyone, is just click a plus button to create yourself a new one. What you will notice is that there is a space for a title, and then a code, and then a description. So the crucial thing is that you can create layers and layers and layers. You just add more and more, so you select one and then click the plus button, and you can create another and another. The things where you put a code are the things that you can tag. So if it has a code, that is, well, all of the things in there, they're nodes, but the codes are what lets you tag things. So if you don't put a code on it, it just becomes like an item in the tree. If you put a code on it, that means that that's what the teacher can basically say, yes, this is that thing for due work item. This is the thing we've got on a unit. Does that make sense? So all I want you to do for 2 minutes, create some curriculum. It can be whatever you want. I would suggest naming it something that makes sense to you, because there's 6, 7, 8 other people on your table that might also be doing this. So create some codes, create some nodes, but definitely put some codes on some of them. Clear? Questions? Step 3? Yeah, so that's putting the node with a code on it. So if you click the plus button, ignore step 2B. I'm going to make you all do 2A. Who doesn't love a last-minute change of plan? So the first one that you create, add new curriculum, won't let you put a code on it. The next one, if you create that first layer won't let you put a code on it. The next layer down, you can. So you must create the first layer without a code, and then after that, you can put codes on. Codes can be whatever you want. There is no rules about what a code must say, see, or look like, or contain. It just needs to be unique. Everyone, I'm going to progress us on to the next step. If you've made a huge curriculum, good for you. Even if you've only got one thing, that's cool. Next up. What we need to do now. We need to go to the admin area. Who here is normally or has accessed the admin area before? And anyone who hasn't? Cool, okay. So to get to the admin area, there's the profile picture. Click on that, and where it says admin, that will take you into the space. From there, everyone, your menu of what you see here will look very slightly different, but the key thing, there's a little search one. You can type in homepage, or just click resources and then find the one that says homepage templates. So we need to go to that admin area. So click your profile picture, click admin, scroll. Once you're in there, find resources, and then homepage templates. I'll give you a second to do that before I explain any further. Everyone, again, I'm going to try and get you to make something from scratch. So what I want you to do is click the plus button to create a new template and give it a name. The important thing I'd say here is that name probably wants to include your own name so that you can easily identify it in a bit. Because if you all go with the word unit, you're going to find that 6 people have all called something unit. So just put your name on it, or your initials, up to you. When you hit save, and I cannot stress how annoying I find this little bit of functionality, Don't forget to change it from blank to then pick that template that you just created. So create, put a name in, go save, and then it's going to go blank as the template that you've currently got selected. Use the drop down to pick the one that you just made. Yes, Anthony. I am so out of touch with the world these days. Woo! Okay, don't worry about those instructions. Just remember my frustration from a while ago. Right, what we are going to do is put some components onto this homepage template. The three that I would recommend for the unit planner is, first of all, a course builder component. So course builders are where the learning activities get made, that filing cabinet, if anyone's ever done an implementation or some consulting with me. So you would want a course builder on there because it's your unit page. That course builder only shows to the staff, to the teachers, so it means that you've got that locked filing cabinet where students and parents can't see things. The second component that I want you to put on there, I would like you to have at least one text box. The reason I want you to put a text box on that is it forms a column on the unit planner. Importantly, that text box must have a title, and it would want to have the title of what you have to do for your local requirements. So it might be you want to put one in there for learning intentions. It might be that you want one for success criteria. It might be you want one for the ACARA unit outcomes. Up to you. The third component is you will find inside of the learning section one for curriculum overview. I also want you to put that curriculum overview component on there, and I want you to select the curriculum that you made. So 3 things you need on there. Again, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, maybe 6, 7, who knows, just to have a go at doing that. All good? Any questions? So on the curriculum overview, it's the curriculum tree filter. So you can either click browse, or if you can remember what you called it, you can also possibly type that in. Just note on the curriculum tree filter, you can go to the very highest level of the tree, or you can go way down. Now, just whilst you're doing that, obviously my theory with the secondary school is that the vast majority of us here will have students who are year 7 to 10. They probably have one kind of unit planner or one setup for going, we need to show things in this way. My expectation is that 11 and 12 often will have a different one. You might find that if you're an 11 to 12 school who just basically, I'm just talking Victoria, teach the VCE. You might also have VET. So it might be that you end up having 2 or 3 different templates for your different unit planners. It could be that you go a little bit more extreme, and I know from working, can't even remember who it was with, but we ended up having about 6 or 7 different unit templates for, there was a different one for like English in year 11 and 12, a different one for maths in 11 and 12, just because of the requirements of what, I think it was SCASA, and what they thought they had to provide for that. SCASA being Western Australia, everyone. So you can have as many different homepage templates as you want, with different text boxes and different curriculum trees filtered as you want in the system. It's up to you. Obviously, the balance we will always say is the more you have, the probably more precise you get for that unit planner view for those people, but the harder it is for you to set up and maintain. So my expectation is if you can do one for 7 to 12, you're living the dream. If you can most likely probably do one 7 to 10, and then a second one for 11 to 12. That's probably good. But you might, if you do vet as well and you want to put those things in, that is where you might find yourself with a third template. All good? Everyone okay? Are we ready to move on already, or do we want another minute? Hands up if you just like another 30 seconds to another minute or two. All right. I reckon the primary school's well behind here. They'll be still doing curriculum. Okay. Next up on the list of places to go. Inside the admin area still, you will find inside of the LMS area something called course frameworks. You might also, it used to very confusingly be called course builder, but we made sure it got changed to be less confusing. So you are looking for words saying course framework. When you get there, you will see a page that looks a bit like this. What I would like you to do, I want you to create a new framework. So you would go add framework at the bottom, give it a name. Again, putting your own name on it is going to be helpful. And then you need to select a course page template. We haven't built one of those, just pick anything. And the unit template that you created. Once you have done that, you can just press save. This is where what I was just saying about having a version for year 7 to 10, and then a different version for 11 to 12, and a different version for vet becomes like a reality in the setup. So you used to be able to do the homepage templates before, but it would just make a mess when it came to actually looking at doing these things and getting a consolidated view in the unit planner. How are we going? Everyone found it? Anyone struggling to find it? Just to single you all out so we can point, stare, and go give help. And I can't stress this enough, everyone. Press the Save Changes button before you leave. Just as a quick question, hands up if you implemented Schoolbox more than a year ago, or you've had Schoolbox for more than 1 year. I could look at your badges, but my eyes aren't that good. Okay. If you look at that page in your instance, you are likely to have one and only one thing, and it will say default. If you implemented more recently with Schoolbox, hopefully your education consultant would have taught you some of these things. And hopefully gone through the process of going, what do you need? Different things. But importantly, and this is why I kind of really highlight, or I'm trying to make a point of this. The moment that your school needs more than one template, which I believe to be every single school on the planet, I would leave that default template in there and then create new ones. You will find that it just makes your life easier to have that default one in there for the time being, create your brand new ones so that you can then apply those new templates in places. Once you're all done, delete that default by all means, but I would suggest during this process, you leave it there. I think there are 3 contexts in which schools will find this. So you have that default and you go, yes, I want to put new ones in, you create it. At that point, you might go, do you want to know what? We've got a mess inside of Schoolbox. We've had it for 20 years, and therefore it's time for a big overhaul. And we go, let's just create everything from scratch. Or it might be that you want to start applying these new templates that you've created, these new frameworks, to those existing things so you keep that content. Doing that is doable, but it is a bit of a harder job. I'm not going to take the 2 hours to explain all the ins and outs of that because it's pretty arduous. We go talk to the strategy studio about things that we can do to support you about making that change if you've had Schoolbox for a long time and you want to try and keep all of that content that you already have with this application. We have engagements to help. So the third situation is hopefully your education consultant helped you in setting these up, and it's occasionally just a little tweak you want to make. You need to change the curriculum tree filter or something like that. There's only little small minor changes that you can then just update what you already have. Does that make sense, everyone, in terms of like, I appreciate that everyone in here will have baggage probably from before, and that will probably make it a little bit harder than what I'm showing today, but that's there. Anyone got any questions with that? Okay, so what I would like you all to do now, we're going to leave the admin area behind. We're hopefully going to go to the bread and butter of what people in the world know, and we're going to create a new course. So if you click on the button that says Courses in the top menu, so it's not up there, but hopefully you know what the top menu is, and there's a button that says Courses with the 3 overlapping crop circles. Can you just create a new course for me? And then once you have created your new course, give it a name. But again, the most important thing I want to stress is the application of what you have just created is that middle column where it says Course Framework. Existing courses, you can change that. When you create a new course, it basically forces you to put it in. And that is going to be what determines what unit planner it shows. So that middle config, course framework, is what all of those is like the implementation after all of those other settings and setup that you've done. That is going to be what affects it for a teacher. So if you go course framework, select it, just type in a couple of words for the units, just create a couple of units and go save. If you then find your course and go click on the 3 dots and go, let me look at the unit planner, you should see the homepage template that you created brought into Schoolbox for that new course and those units. So I'm going to give you, again, 5 minutes just to try and get there. What I would like is once you get there, try and just put some stuff in those text boxes, select some curriculum, feel free to use the AI just to generate some content there. Do whatever you want, I just want you to put some stuff on that unit planner. All good? Any questions about the task? Can I just ask a very quick question to all tables, because I don't know if it's isolated to one instance or all the instances. If you go to select a faculty, is everyone not able to select one? Okay, cool, it's just one broken instance I'll fix. Yes, staff policies need courses. So there was just a question about what you should select as your faculty to put it in. There are no rules about where things need to go. We normally, in our consulting, say you've probably got either departments, year levels, something like that there, or a campus. And really, those things are just there to help organize and keep things tidy, possibly say, this is the senior school folder, therefore our senior school person will have ownership in this space. I may have had a massive schoolboy error in what I said earlier. Just make sure on your course framework, where it says like has the drop downs for the course template and the unit template, I would very much suggest on the unit template at least, make sure it has a home page, that thing you selected. You don't really want it to have no home page or no home page. Otherwise, you've just got lots of folders. Coming toward the end of today, so I'm going to move on in a second to our final piece. I hope everyone that you've just encountered how easy, hopefully it can be, to create a unit planner, even if it's not got all the bells and whistles. We have done something very quickly. The next thing I want just to look at is the lesson plans. I don't actually necessarily want to go to the effort of creating all these at the moment. what I would suggest is, because we are lacking a little bit of time, rather than creating a whole new lesson plan, the key functionality of it as a planning tool is that there are 3 fields. So you have a field title, for example, inquiry question. You have a field description. That field description does 2 things. It can show to the teacher going, here's what I want. It also acts as a prompt for any artificial intelligence going, make me a lesson plan. So if you want to try and suggest what that part of your lesson plan or planner is to do, it'll do that. And then you have a body which kind of, you can apply a template, and you will notice in the new version that there are templates that you can create that you could just kind of automatically fill those out with. There's also a tick there, whether you want that to show to a student or not. So you could obviously create a lesson plan or a planner where nothing is visible to students because it's all teacher-based planning. That could be week 1, week 2, week 3, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, each of those, so there's nothing particularly set there. But what I would like you to try, because we've got a couple of minutes, is in your course and in your unit, if you're on the unit planner still, or whether if you're on the unit page, find that course builder section. So if you find your course builder section for your unit, can you please click the button that says create activity? So on your course builder, be it on the unit planner or on your page. If you're not sure, you can always just find like Year 9 English, use one of those. But I would like you to go create a new lesson plan. With creating that, I suggest select one that says term planner. I think it might be called primary or secondary term planner. Suggest secondary. And what I would like you to try is give it a name, select some curriculum codes. They could be from the Vic curriculum, they could be the Queensland curriculum, they could be IB things, they could be the thing that you just created yourself. Put in a time frame and see what happens if you press generate lesson plan. So give that a go. So find the course builder and then create new activity and create a lesson plan. Give that functionality a go with making it use the AI. All good? Again, just shout if you need help. We're coming around. I appreciate that many of you will have been doing this kind of as we've kind of been going through, but obviously you've been mucking around in our little sandbox. If you have any desires to screenshot things that you've done, feel free to go around, take a picture now. These instances and your ability to log in will probably continue for another day at least, but we will destroy all of these things in the not too distant future. So feel free to take any pictures that you want. Has anyone any questions about things that I have very, very quickly shown today? I will take that as a round of applause for myself for being efficient. So yes, the important thing to know here is that I appreciate this is going to be harder to roll out with staff than just to show you here today, here's how to set it up. We do have a consultancy engagement where our education consultants will support you through. We'll basically be able to monitor and manage how much application this has had and to try and support you through in a lot more detail. So if that is something you're interested in, the Strategy Studio is the place to go. As I say, it gets a little bit more complicated as you have more and more different variations, trying to apply that in those places. But where you might have to manually do some things, we might have some database wizardry where we can bulk apply things so that you don't have to go through and select them all yourself. So we do have some ways that will support you in doing that. So there's that. And then I think, everyone, it is time to wrap up for the day. If you have any individual questions or things you want to ask about, which aren't linked to that, feel free just to grab us at the end. But thank you for listening. Probably see some of you back in here for a drink and some stuff in the not too distant future.